Hey, good win tonight. Nebraska just beat Illinois in 3 straight sets with convincing scores. They were 12, 21, and 17. Nebraska looked really good tonight, particularly the serving. The serving was really challenging for Illinois. They aced a bunch, just caused trouble in general for Illinois. Surprisingly, not surprisingly, Lauren Stivrins was one of the best servers tonight. She had long runs where she was serving and had 3 aces and still caused some trouble even when it wasn't an ace. So Nebraska will play Texas next in the regional finals, and I expect Lauren will be serving in her position until she's being inconsistent or she misses, and then coach will look for that Ani Evans sub if she's not serving well, if Lauren's not serving well. Kaylee Akana served really well. Kenzie Neckles served really well. And Nicklin Hames, all their balls had a lot of movement on them. That's why I think they served so well. When it's coming through the air, it's not a straight path. It's a floating path. It's moving back and forth. And so the passers can't just wait on it, get to a spot and wait on it. They have to keep adjusting, keep moving their platform. And then sometimes when that ball drops, the float, that's when you get an ace. It drops right in front of the passer where they expected it to go. So that serving really has got to continue against Texas. Their offense is so powerful. You have to be offensive on your serve. The serve is really the first offensive play of any rally. And so when you have the serve, you serve it offensively and you try to make sure that their first attack swing is not their best, that they're off the net, that they don't get to pick their first choice or run their fastest offense. So Nebraska has to serve really tough to keep that high-powered Texas offense a little unstable, not able to run exactly what they want. And that has to happen from every server. Each person that goes behind the line, they have a chance to disrupt that offense. And that's like the game inside the game. So, when Maddie Kubik goes back there, she has a chance to disrupt that offense and force them to do something they don't want to do. And then the next time that server comes back, it's another little game to disrupt that offense. So serving is really key. The other thing I liked against Illinois tonight was, and against Florida State too in the last round, we're really purposefully setting our middles. And that wasn't happening in the Big Ten season. We were really just setting Maddie Kubik. And that one-dimensional offense can work against a team that isn't blocking you. But, if they can just set up outside on Maddie Kubik, she can't be as good of a hitter as she really is. So setting Kayla Caffey is super fun for us to watch, and it's really effective for our entire offense. So Kayla Caffey had 11 kills tonight, and that was the same number as Maddie Kubik. Maddie still had more swings. I think that's always going to happen, especially as the matches get longer. The outsides are going to get more swings. But purposefully getting the ball to the middles is important. Texas's blockers are bigger than Illinois' or Florida State's, so more of those balls are going to come back onto our side of the net, so the attack coverage has to be really great. And the hitters are just going to have to see that block better because they weren't required to see it as well tonight. They could hit through it, they could hit off it. But the Texas blockers are really disciplined. They press their hands over the net so they get closer to the ball's point of contact for the hitter, and that cuts down on angles. Like they don't have as many angles to hit as hitters. So we just have to be better against Texas. And our defense was great tonight. We really picked up a ton of balls. They'll have to be good for longer on Saturday. The match will go longer, and the defensive rallies will go longer. Texas plays good defense. I don't think it would compare to Nebraska's defense, and they don't have as many good defensive players as Nebraska does. The other thing that sticks out to me is you probably watched the Texas match too because it was compelling. Texas was down against number 15 Washington, and they had to get back up. They really had to dig deep and fight back. And so that's a really different match than we just watched Nebraska play. Nebraska just won. They were good. They were efficient, and they just won. So the mind space that both of these teams are coming into the match, for that reason alone, the victory for them in the semifinals of the regionals was just really different. Of course, the coaches are different, and the training is different, and all the strategy is different. But digging deep and getting a win is different than just winning and being better than the other team and proving it in the score. I don't know which one's better. I don't know if Texas is more hungry, and then you add in the dynamic of a storied rivalry of Texas and Nebraska and players who have transferred from one school to another. And Texas doesn't have any current players from Nebraska, but Nebraska has Lexi Sun, who transferred from Texas, and that was not a clean thing. Texas seemed really not happy about that. So there's just a ton of mental things happening there, and those get into the players' heads on the service line or whenever they're touching the ball in this next match. So the mental part of the game is super interesting to me and will have some impact on the outcome of the game. So I like that we're playing in the same gym. Our serving is good in that gymnasium. So playing there again on Saturday night is great for us. You know, the air quality is the same and the air rotation and most importantly, the backdrop to which the servers are serving towards is the same. You know, it's like a hitter in baseball. They have the green space out in center field so that he sees the same thing in every stadium. Well, that's not true for volleyball. Every backdrop that someone's serving against, they're seeing something different. So the perception of the server changes in every gymnasium. But we played in this gym tonight. We'll play again on Saturday. So our serving should be really good. And that's a good news story for us. You know, matchups, they have a shorter setter. She's 5'8", I think. Nicole Hames is 5'11". They both might be fudging their height on the rosters. Coaches do that. So I think both teams will look at blocking subs at times because certainly one of the strategies will be to hit over that shorter setter, and she's just significantly shorter than every other blocker around her because the other blockers are all really tall, right? They're 6'2", they're 6'3", they're 6'4". So they're going to try to hit off those setters' hands, but that's the same strategy everybody's tried to use against these teams all year long, and clearly they've gotten to this final 8 teams for a reason, so they've found a way to play around that. I think they'll also try to hit to the setter while she's in the back row. Lexi Rodriguez is excellent at playing the second ball as the setter. So is Akana, but Texas is libero. She's not as good at that. So I think the strategy for Nebraska could be effective to try to get Jenna Gabriel's, Texas's setter, to play the first ball, and then the libero has to play the second ball. That could lead to disruption of their offense. They're going to put a lot of balls to the outside hitters. Logan Eggleston is an excellent outside hitter. She's also a good defender in the back row. They'll set her in the back row. So our job is to defend those outside hitters, still be prepared for the middles because they'll set all 5 players. They have 5 very good attackers, and they'll set them all, but they'll just primarily set the 2 outside hitters. You know, I like what I'm seeing in Nebraska's play so far in the tournament, and I think they have a real shot against Texas. And if you'd asked me that at the start of this tournament, I would have said, I don't think so. But obviously Texas is beatable, at least in 2 sets last night. Washington did it. And I think Nebraska can do it too. I think if they come and they play one of the best matches of the season, they can take Texas out of this tournament. All right, go Big Red.